And we're live again. Oh, what's up, everybody?
So
It's cold outside today. I forget, pretty much most people know I live somewhere in the Midwest, so it's like 34 out, so it's always fun. But yeah, today, everybody, we are going to be going over Jose Vasconcelos. Salos. Um, for some reason, I thought we were on the final chapter, but it's been a while since we've covered this.
yeah,
So we're going to be on page 23, and we're
yeah,
just going to read about 8 pages. Not too much. I think that we'll probably take any questions towards the end of this channel. I mean, towards the end of this video, when we finish up the reading, and then we'll have the final few pages we'll have left that we'll cover at another time.
yeah. I was with you. I thought like this was like the last one, but we forgot we never made the third video. So
It's my bad. I'll remember next time.
it's all good, dude. I completely lost track of it. Yeah, it's a little more chilly here. This is a cool looking poncho from Wara Andina Ximena, from her shop, so I wanted to support her, so I bought it. It was only like $60, but it looks really, really good. I really like Andean fashion. It's just really unique and really neat. So I highly encourage you guys to buy a poncho from her. I wanted to get the blue one, but it was out of stock, so I got this one. So
Looking snazzy.
thanks. It's warm. So, anyways, here let's start. I'll go ahead and go with the first page. After examining the close and remote possibilities of the mixed race that inhabits the Ibero-American continent, as well as the destiny that drives it to become the first synthetic race of the Earth, it is necessary to inquire if the physical milieu within which this human stock is being developed corresponds to the ends determined by its bionomy. The territorial expanse already at its disposal is enormous. There is no land problem then. The fact that its coasts do not have many first-rate harbors is of almost no importance given the ever-increasing engineering advances. On the other hand, all the essential elements are without doubt abundant in quantities that surpass those of any other region on Earth. Natural resources, arable land, water, and favorable climate. In regards to the latter factor, some will raise, of course, in rejection. The climate, it will be said, is adverse to the new race because the greatest part of the available land is located in the hottest region of the Earth. However, this is precisely the advantage and the secret of the future. The great civilization began in the tropics, and the final civilizations will return to the tropics. The new race will begin to fulfill its destiny as new means are invented to combat the heat insofar as it is adverse to man, yet leaving intact its benefic power for the production of life. The triumph of the whites began with the first conquest of the snow and cold. The basis of white civilization is fuel. First, it has served as a protection against the long winters. Then it was discovered that its power could be used not only for warmth but also for work, and the motor was born. And so it is that from the hearth and the stove proceed all the machinery that is transforming the world. A similar invention would have been possible in warm Egypt, and in fact did not occur there, despite the fact that the Egyptians infinitely surpassed the intellectual capacity of the English race. To corroborate the last statement, it is sufficient to compare the sublime metaphysics of the Book of the Dead of the Egyptian priests with the vulgarity of Spencerian Darwinism. The chasm that separates Spencer from Hermes Trismegistus cannot be crossed by the blonde Dilophosax, even in another 1,000 years of training and selection. Yeah, that's a mouthful right there.
Did he say English race?
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of interesting. I mean, well, instead of saying Anglos, he's saying English. On the other hand, the English ship, that marvelous machine that proceeds from the Vikings of the North, was not even dreamed of by the Egyptians. The rude fight against the environment forced the whites to devote their aptitude to the conquest of temporal nature, and it is precisely this what constitutes their contribution to the civilization of the future. The whites taught the control of matter. The science of the whites will someday revert the method employed to attain control over fire, and instead will make use of condensed snows, electrochemical currents, or subtle magic gases to destroy flies and pests and dissipate the sultry weather and the fevers. Then the world will spread over the tropics, and in a solemn immensity of its landscape, souls will conquer plenitude.
Feels like he's gotten more crazy as the readings go on.
I will compliment him. Like he's a fantastic writer. I mean, at least I'll say that he's a pretty intellectual guy. My respect as a fellow writer to another writer.
Yeah. You know what? I know we said that we'd probably talk about comments later, but I'm just highlighting people wanting to say what's up. So Hello, everybody that's in here. Someone said, is the cosmic race the whole idea that Castizos are like a master race?
I mean, it's kind of like that because he says that the white part is basically going to be like the conquering the synthesis. So essentially, it's kind of like that, but mixed with a couple other elements. So it's kind of odd.
Yeah, it's a little crazy. But let's continue on because there's a lot more I'd like to read on to. So, at the beginning, the whites will try to take advantage of their inventions for their own benefit. But since science is no longer esoteric, it is not likely that they will succeed. They will be absorbed in the avalanche of all the other races, and finally, deposing their pride, they will combine with the rest to make the new racial synthesis, the fifth race of the future. The conquest of the tropics will transform all aspects of life. Architecture will abandon the Gothic arch, the vault, and in general the roof, which answers to the need for shelter. The pyramid will again develop. Colonnades and perhaps spiral constructions will be raised in useless ostentation of beauty because the new aesthetics will try to adapt to the endless curve of the spiral, which represents the freedom of desire and triumph of being in the conquest of infinity. The landscape, brimming with colors and rhythms, will communicate its wealth to the emotions. Reality will be like fantasy. The aesthetics of cloudiness and grays will be seen as the sickly art of the past. A refined and intense civilization will answer to the splendors of a nature swollen with potency, habitually generous and shining with clarity. The paranorma of the present day Rio de Janeiro, or Santos, with the city and the bay, can give us an idea what the future emporium of the integral race that has to come will be like. Awkward. Assuming then the conquest of the tropics by scientific means, there will come a period when all humanity will establish itself in the warm regions of the planet. The promised land will be then in the region that today comprises all of Brazil, plus Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, part of Peru, part of Bolivia, and the upper region of Argentina. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, pretty interesting concept.
There is the danger that science may get ahead of the ethnic process, so that the invasion of the tropics may take place before the fifth race is completely developed. If this should happen, wars will be waged for the possession of the Amazon, and their outcome will decide the destiny of the world and the fate of the definitive race. If the Amazon is dominated by the English, either of the islands or of the continent, both champions of the pure white, the emergence of the fifth race will remain defeated. But such an outcome would be absurd. History does not bend her ways. The English themselves would in the new climate become more malleable. They would become mestizos, but with them the process of integration and improvement would be slower. It is preferable then that the Amazon remain Brazilian, or it remain Iberian together with the Orinoco and the Magdalena. With the resources from such a region, the richest on earth, filled with all kinds of treasures, the synthetic race will be able to consolidate its culture. Do you want me to finish this part, or did you?
No, I can take it from there. I was just gonna say it's just kind of amusing how he says basically the English is like the boogeyman in his eyes, man. Like, they'll ruin everything.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. And then he says that the English would become mestizos. Like, fat chance of that happening. There's no way they would ever consider themselves mestizos, bro.
Yeah, of course, not at all.
Whatever criticisms people have about like the English or the U.S. or Anglo-Saxons, I at least like the racial classification system they use because it makes things very, very simple, right? Instead of all these stupid caste labels about like breaking it down and like it's just nonsense,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is really insane. Was he referring to global warming? He didn't say it outright.
No, he didn't say it. I don't think he
No.
even he didn't even think about global warming. Honestly, I mean the Amazon is like being destroyed by like these corporations. There's that
Yeah.
struggle, right? So he didn't even think about that possibility. But I mean, he wrote this back in like the 1920s or 30s. So
That's true.
let's see. The world of the future will belong to whoever conquers the Amazon region. Universopolis will rise by the Great River, and from there, the preaching, the squadrons, and the airplanes propagating the good news will set forth. If the Amazon becomes English, the world metropolis will not be called Universo Polis, but Anglo Town. And the armies would come out of there to impose upon the other continents the harsh law of dominion by the blonde-haired whites and the extinction of their dark rivals. On the other hand, if the fifth race takes ownership of the axis of the future world, then airplanes and armies will travel all over the world, educating people for their entry into wisdom. Life founded on love will come to be expressed in forms of beauty. Naturally, the fifth race will not pretend to exclude the whites, just as it does not propose to exclude any of the other races. Precisely the norm of its formation is the use of all capacities for the greater integration of power. Our aim is not war against the whites, but against any kind of violent domination, be it either by the whites or were Japan ever to become a continental danger by the yellows. Bro, like, that's kind of funny because I mean, like, he says this, but it's like you yourself are a white person, and the Spaniards were white that came here and did all this. So it's like you already have domination. You yourselves are whites. But it's just interesting that he just tries to separate himself, right? Like he's, I guess, a minority or something. It's like, no, you're not. But it's just interesting. In regards to the whites and their culture, the fifth race already relies on them and still expects benefits from their genius. Latin America owes what it is to the white European and is not going to deny him. To the North Americans themselves, Latin America owes a great deal of her railroads, bridges, and enterprises. By the same token, it needs all of the other races. However, we accept the superior ideals of the whites, but not their arrogance. We want to offer them, as well as other people, a free country where they will find a home and refuge, but not a continuation of their conquest. The whites themselves, unhappy with materialism and social injustice in which their race, the fourth race, has fallen, will come to us for help in the conquest of freedom. Perhaps the traits of the white race will predominate among the characteristics of the fifth race. So you're right. He's like acknowledging the fact that it probably will. But such a supremacy must be the result of free choice of personal taste and not the fruit of violence or economic pressure.
Want me to go?
Yeah.
Okay. The superior traits of culture and nature will have to triumph, but the triumph will be stable only if it is based on the voluntary acceptance by conscience and on the free choice of fantasy. Up to this date, life has received its character from man's lower faculties. The fifth branch will be the fruit of the superior faculties. The fifth race does not exclude, but accumulates life. For this reason, the exclusion of the Yankee, like the exclusion of any other human type, would be equivalent to an anticipated mutilation, more deadly even than a later cut. If we do not want to exclude even the races that might be considered inferior, it would be less sensible to keep from our enterprise a race full of vigor and solid social virtues. Now that we have expressed the theory of the formation of the future Ibero-American race, and the manner in which it will be able to take advantage of the environment in which it lives, only the third factor of the transformation, which is taking place in our continent, remains to be considered. The spiritual factor, which has to direct and consummate this extraordinary experience. Some may think, perhaps, that the fusion of the different contemporary races into a new race that will fulfill and surpass all the others is going to be a repugnant process of anarchic hybridization. By comparison, the English practice of marrying only with the same stock may be seen as an ideal of refinement and purity. The primitive Aryans from Hindustan attempted precisely that English system in order to keep themselves from mixing with the colored races. However, since those dark races possessed a wisdom necessary to complement that of the blonde invaders, the true Hindu culture was not produced until after the centuries have completed the mixture. This is a long sentence. In spite of all written prohibitions. Furthermore, the fateful mixture was useful not only for cultural reasons, but because the physical specimen itself needs to be renovated in its kin. North Americans have held very firmly to their resolution to maintain a pure stock, the reason being that they are faced with the blacks, who are like the opposite pole, like the antithesis of the elements to be mixed. In the Ibero-American world, the problem does not present itself in such crude terms. We have very few blacks, and a large part of them is already becoming a mulatto population. The Indian is a good bridge for racial mixing. Besides, the warm climate is propitious for the interaction and gathering of all peoples. On the other hand, this is essential. Interbreeding will no longer obey reasons for single proximity as occurred in the beginning when the white colonists took an Indian or black woman, because there were no others at hand. In the future, as social conditions keep improving, the mixture of bloods will become gradually more spontaneous, to the point that interbreeding will no longer be the result of simple necessity, but of personal taste, or at least, is he like talking about a fetish? At least, or curiosity. Fucked up person. Spiritual motivation in this manner will increasingly superimpose itself upon the contingencies of the merely physical. Physical? By spiritual motivation, we should understand rather than reflective thinking. The faculty of personal taste that directs the mysterious election of one particular person out of the multitude. Whew. This guy's got problems.
This guy, he writes a lot, man. There's a lot of shit. But what was I gonna say? He says all this, but like, I don't know, man. Like yes, interracial marriage was more like legalized and seen positively now in the last couple of decades in the U.S. But a lot of people hold to tribalism most of the time, so they'll tend to really just stick with their own most of the time. If you're looking at like the numbers, than they are to just mix. I mean, maybe not so south of the border, but I guess that was just for many reasons why that occurred, right? Back in the early days. Well, even then they didn't do it because see, the Spaniards actually like married themselves a lot, especially in northern Coahuila, because I have a lot of ancestors that are Spanish, and they would keep it white for a while, bro. It wasn't until like the mid 1800s that some of them started marrying like other races, from what I could see.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting. I know, like, I think after the independence is when like more people started to marry other people with different backgrounds. But again, like after the independence happened, more people from Europe, particularly Spain, were coming to these countries more and more. Of course, with the Industrial Revolution as well coming, you have bigger ships, better modes of transportation to bring more people from Europe. Hence why what they say, intermixing of different groups, of people would make sense in a way.
Yeah.
But it is, something to think about, I think, in some ways. Yeah, right, it's reading time.
Yeah, it's been a minute since we did a video, like a full-out podcast for a while. Yeah. But anyways, I'll go ahead and... On several occasions, I have proposed this law of personal taste as the basis of all human relationships under the name of the law of the three social stages. This is not to be taken in the Commotion sense. I don't even know what that is. But much more comprehensively, the three stages indicated by this law are the material, warlike, the intellectual or political, and the spiritual or aesthetic. They represent a process that is gradually liberating us from the domination of necessity and, step by step, is submitting all life to superior norms of feeling and fantasy. In the first stage, only matters rules. Social groups confronting each other either fight or join one another, following no other law but violence and relative power. Sometimes they exterminate each other, or else they celebrate agreements according to convenience or necessity. This is the way of life typical of the hordes or tribes of all races. In such a situation, the mixing of bloods has also been imposed by material power, which is the only element of cohesion in the group. There can be no selection where the strong take or reject according to their fancy the vanquished female. Of course, even in this period, the instinct of sympathy beats at the core of human relationships, attracting or repelling according to that mystery we call taste, that, that mystery which is the secret reason for all aesthetics. However, the influence of taste does not constitute the predominant motivation in the first period, nor in the second, which is subjected to the inflexible norms of reason. Reason is also present in the first period as the origin of conduct of human actions, but it is weak like the suppressed taste. It is not reason that decides, but power, and judgment is submitted to that usually brutal force and made into a slave of primitive will. Judgment, thus corrupted into cunning, debases itself in order to serve injustice. In the first period, it is not possible to work towards the cordial fusion of the races. On the other hand, because the law of violence itself, which this period submits, excludes possibilities of spontaneous cohesion. On the other, because even geographical conditions themselves do not permit the constant communication between all peoples of the earth. In the second period, reason tends to prevail, artfully making use of the advantages conquered by force and correcting the latter's mistakes. Boundaries are defined by treaties, and customs are organized according to laws derived from the reciprocal convenience and logical thinking. Romanism is the most complete model of this rational social system, although it actually started before Rome and still continues in this time of nationalities.
Way to go. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. In this system, racial mixing partially obeys the fancy of free instinct, exercised beneath the rigors of the social norm, but more strongly it obeys the ethical and political conveniences of the moment. In the name of morality, for instance, matrimonial ties, difficult to break, are imposed between persons who do not love each other. In the name of politics, internal and external liberties are restricted. In the name of religion, which should be sublime inspiration, dogmas and tyrannies are imposed. Each case is, however, justified with the dictates of reason, recognized as supreme in human affairs. Those who condemn racial mixture in the name of scientific eugenics, which, based on incomplete and false data, has not been able to produce valid results, also proceed according to superficial logic and questionable knowledge. The main characteristic of this second period is faith in the formula. For that reason, in every respect, this period does nothing but give norms to intelligence, limits to action, boundaries in the nation, and reins in the emotions, rule, norm, and tyranny. Such is the law of the second period in which we are imprisoned and from which is necessary to escape. I feel like he really doesn't care if you try to preserve your culture or not. In some ways, he wants everyone to be absorbed into what he calls the fifth race.
Yeah. But see, like, it also lets you know how he doesn't really understand genetics, because you can only pass on so much to people. Like, it is all determined by your parents and your grandparents, really, what you're going to be, right? Physically speaking. And so there's no way you can really, it'd be really hard to like try to encapsulate 4 different races into one and create somebody that's like 4, like across the board evenly. It's really, really hard. It's like impossible. You wash all that out as you have kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's not even doable.
Yeah. Do you want me to keep
Oh,
going?
yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sure. Were we on in the third period? Or were we unfortunate? Okay. In the third period, whose approach is already announced in 1,000 ways, the orientation of conduct will not be sought in painful reason that explains but does not discover. It will rather be sought in creative feeling and convincing beauty. Convincing beauty. Norms will be given by fantasy, the supreme faculty. This is to say, life will be without norms, in a state in which everything that is born from feeling will be right. Instead of rules, constant inspiration, the merit of an action will not be sought in the immediate and tangible results, as the first period, nor will it be required to adapt itself in the predetermined rules of pure reason. The ethical imperative itself will be surpassed. Beyond good and evil, in a world of aesthetic pathos, the only thing that will matter will be that the act, being beautiful, shall produce joy. To our whim, nor our duty, follow the path of taste, not of appetite or syllogism, to live joy grounded on love. Such is the third stage. Sounds like he's focusing on beauty. Okay. Unfortunately, we are so imperfect that in order to attain such a godly life, it will be necessary that we previously pass through all the paths. First, the path of duty, where the lower appetites are purified and surpassed, and then the path of illusion, that stimulates the highest aspirations, passion which redeems lower sensuality will come immediately afterwards. To live in pathos, to feel towards the world an emotion so intense that the movement of things adopts rhythms of joy, is a feature of the third period. We arrive at it by letting loose the divine desire, so when it may reach without moral and logical bridges, in one nimble leap, the realms of revelation. Such immediate intuition that jumps over the chain of sorites is an artistic gift, and being passion goes beyond duty from the very beginning and replaces it with exalted love. Duty and logic, it is clear, are the scaffold and the mechanics of building, but the soul of architecture is rhythm, which transcends mechanics and knows no other law but the mystery of divine beauty. What role? Oh, you can go.
Yeah, I can. Dude, dude, this guy's a poet, man. He's good. He's good, but like, it's just kind of funny that he uses all this complexity to basically just sum up. You just think this person's hot because they're a different race, and so you get with them. Like, that's essentially what it all is. But he's just the way he phrases it is kind of amusing.
Yeah.
But what role is played in this process by the will that serve of human destinies that the fourth race, even deified in the intoxicating instant of its triumph, will is power, blind power running after ambiguous ends. In the first period, it is directed by appetite, which uses it for all its whims. Then reason shines her light. The will is refraining by duty and takes shape into logical thinking. In the third period, the will is liberated. It surpasses the finite and explodes and becomes infused with a sort of infinite reality. It fills with rumors and remote purposes. Logic does not suffice, and the will takes on the wings of fantasy. It sinks into the deepest and decries the highest. It expands into harmony and ascends into the creative mystery of melody. It satisfies itself and dissolves into emotion, fusing with the joy of the universe. It becomes passion of beauty. If we acknowledge that humanity is gradually approaching the third period of its destiny, we shall see that the work of racial fusion is going to take place in the Ibero-American continent according to a law derived from the fruition of the highest faculties. The laws of emotion, beauty, and happiness will determine the selection of a mate with infinitely superior results than that of eugenics grounded on scientific reason, which never sees beyond the less important portion of the love act. Above scientific eugenics, the mysterious eugenics of aesthetic taste will prevail, where enlightened rules, no correctives are necessary. The very ugly will not procreate. They will have no desire to procreate.
What?
That's completely false. They still will. But okay. What does it matter then that all of the races mix with each other if ugliness will find no cradle? Poverty, defective education, the scarcity of beautiful types, the misery that makes people ugly, all those calamities will disappear from the future social stage. This guy was ugly as shit himself, so he's not want to talk.
It was pretty hideous.
Yeah, with that receding hairline. The fact common today of a mediocre couple feeling proud of having multiplied misery will seem repugnant then. It will seem a crime. What the fuck? Marriage will cease to be consolation for misfortunes that need not be perpetuated, and it will become a work of art. All right, that's
we went off the deep end.
Yeah, dude. Well, we only got 9 pages left for the next time we can finish this.
We're done. Oh man.
You're done, man. It's only been 30 minutes.
Yeah. Whoa. That's pretty nice. We got like 20 people that were watching us read.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my thoughts on that was that he has some like weird obsession. I guess you could say like fetish with his belief system of he thinks that people that aren't ethnically the same should always like mix together. And gosh, again, I wonder how he got in a seat of education in the government of Mexico. It's beyond me.
I don't know. I wonder if he followed his own line of thinking himself, or if he just married somebody that was completely European. I never bothered to look it up, actually.
Yeah, I don't know either, to be honest. I keep forgetting that he wrote this at what,
1920s? I think 1920s, or maybe it was early 1930 or something. It was around there. So that's like 100 years ago almost.
I keep thinking it was in the 1800s. Just the way he writes and everything, it doesn't make me believe that it's that closer to like, World War II.
No, it was around there. Shit, that's crazy because my second great grandfather that like I found like genealogy wise, it says on the record he's like indigenous race, right? In Coahuila. He was around then. He was born in 1887 and he died in 1944. So it's kind of crazy. He lived throughout the same time period Vasconcelos was doing all this shit, right? Sorry, you're infecting me with your Vasconcelos shit. Dude. So like whenever I say his shit, I just grift on your shit, man.
Quite infectious.
It is infectious, man.
Yeah, but I just feel that how he was able to spread this insanity throughout not just Mexico, but a lot of South America. How people take him seriously,
Yeah, I don't know.
And he's not like I don't know if he came from some like rich family or what. I mean, I assumed he probably did if he got in that position.
I mean, his parents were European, but I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that they were wealthy. They could have been. They probably were more upper class than I would say your indigenous person or your mestizo or whatever.
Yeah, but didn't he like act in the very like first initial pages that he said he was talking about the Spanish Empire and like our empire failed or something? Like didn't he think he was like a conquistador?
Yeah, kind of thinking like that. Luis just said how influential was he in South America? Pretty influential, at least. If you read the book Before Mestizaje by Ben Benson III, he goes into how Jose Vasconcelos' book, basically that ideology was popularized and spread further down from Mexico. So it was used across Latin America in general. So it was significantly influential in his time. Well, I mean, it still is. You still have Hispanistas that, wanting to ride with that shit.
Yeah, they ride with him pretty hard. So, yeah, his words definitely had an influence throughout, Even
and Oyotli was saying, I don't understand why there was a so-called Indigenista movement in Mexico, and at the same time they were promoting mestizaje. So I haven't read so much on the Indigenista movement of the time period, but Indigenismo at the time in Mexico is actually negative because they were trying to basically go to a lot of the traditional indigenous people and trying to assimilate them. So it actually makes sense that they would be promoting mestizaje because it wasn't really about. They thought they were doing them a favor, basically trying to get them to assimilate, right, to stop their discrimination. Essentially, I think that's the logic behind
it. That's what I think too, and it sounds like that's what he was trying to do in some ways, but we never learned about his view on the caste system, and if he viewed as European, Spaniards essentially. Criollos, as you say, as they should be at the top of this, pyramid. But he is pretty racist. I think he hates Asians.
Yeah. He hates black people, but the worst of his quotes are actually coming in the next 9 pages. So when we finish it, you'll see the worst things he said about black people. So. Which is not a surprise that a lot of Hispanistas nowadays are very racist against black people. Yeah, Yotli, Indigenista. I don't think it was even Indigenista back then. It was just Indigenismo, so a slightly different name. but that's what it was called. So yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to learn about the Indigenous the movements throughout like Central and South America.
Yeah, because I don't think they're not all the same in like their ideologies and what they were trying to do. Because like I know Indigenismo at the time in Mexico, like that was a bad thing, right? But I've heard of in like on similar movements in other places that weren't so bad or that actually were positive, right? So it just depends because I think every country had their own version of this that was different. Or there might be something going on that's indigenista in the modern day, right? Like today's time, that's not bad, right? But it has like a similar name to it. So, who knew Amauta would probably know all about that shit.
I think he would too. That knowledgeable guy. Should we drop the link to enter the ship?
Yeah, I will be right back. I just got to run real fast.
You're gonna make me entertain everybody? That's all good. Hey guys, so we are going to drop the link if anyone wants to come on. We'll probably like discuss a little bit more. This video was meant to not last very long because it's Wednesday and we all got stuff going on. So I do appreciate the comments. Shout out to everyone except, wait, was there a Hebrew Israelite in here? But yeah, thank you all for your comments, your advice, any questions. If you have any other questions in the comments, please be free to ask whichever you want, whatever you want. It's okay with me. Again, I know I said last time we're working on Spotify. We're still working on that too with the update. Twitter, is there. But yeah, we have some new ideas. Well, not no ideas. New videos coming up in the next week and the week after. So yeah, please make sure to stay tuned. It's going to be fun. Did you say he's from the tribe of Issachar? Yeah, I'll be honest, I haven't heard of that tribe. Yeah, there's definitely been some really interesting characters that have came on, that left comments on our videos this past few days. But, the funny thing is that these people that, do want to try and rain on our parade, their comments only make our videos better. They improve our views and other things. So people that don't like us continue to share our video. Right, Juanchaloa?
Oh, what'd you say?
I said, we've had some interesting characters make some comments on our videos the past few days, but either they realize it or they don't, or they'd hate us and they're still going to support us anyway. Their comments still do good for the channel. They still give us attention.
Oh,
so,
yeah, it does.
So I was like, keep sharing our video. Like, go ahead and do it. I don't care. It gets us more attention. Like I told you, that person that talked about our channel negatively, we got 5 subs after that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's
keep growing.
Yeah, these haters are just they're obsessed. Like they'll watch like hours like of content. It's like they're our biggest fans in a way, Freaking No, for you guys that didn't know, the average time for a YouTube channel to reach 1,000 subscribers is 22 months. Me and Marcus are right now at 1,560, and we've been doing this 11 months now? Yeah, 11 months. So we're 50% better than your average channel, right, in terms of growth. So hopefully it continues. It'd be nice to get to 5,000. Oh yeah, Tomato. I'm gonna make him a moderator. Let's see.
Rena said that why is it allowing camera access and audio? When you go through that little step, it should give you like a video to like close your image so you don't like you're just talking through audio. You can close your audio to turn it off if you want. I know the steps to enter sometimes are kind of odd, but it should give you the option of turning off your audio and video if you want. Yeah, Tim said to jump on allow access, and then turn it off. Did you make him a moderator?
Tomato, yeah, I did. Tomato, shout out to Tomato. He's a really stand-up guy. He's a moderator on our Discord, so yeah, pretty cool guy.
You want to talk about Elon Musk?
Dude, so Elon Musk. Dude, so I don't see why people. I know some people hate on him a lot, but I actually don't. I mean, he's not perfect, right? But I still think he's a really interesting guy.
He's a very interesting guy, and he looks a lot younger than almost turning 50 as well.
Yeah, he does. He looks like he's like about to turn 40, not 50. But I think that he's a good man in terms of because the government itself has really not been wanting to invest in space exploration or space anything. So the only solution to our species really advancing and going into that is for corporations or these billionaires to push this, right? So now the fact that Elon is basically doing a space race with Bezos is beneficial because it will advance our species in general into exploring space, and then we can find new wonders, right? Or have new frontiers, new inventions, and that's what's needed, right? Instead of just wasting all this time and not going to space. That's my view.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's funny, like people that don't like Elon Musk, like they're like, why don't you like spend some of your money? In which I understand, like he has a whole lot of money, but then you've got people that be like, well, it's his money, so he can spend it how he wants.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I like shared a kind of like a screenshot where like this one place where an organization was calling out Elon Musk saying, oh, like if we had like 2% of his wealth, we could end world hunger. And he was savage, dude. He responded to that tweet and he was like, tell me exactly how the fuck 6 billion could do it and I'll give it to you. It's like, but it has to be open source. So people have to be able to fucking see this shit, right? See how the funds are being spent.
And it was for the United Nations to spend, and I have very little trust in that organization.
The United Nations, you don't have trust in that organization at all?
Well, because they're kind of responsible for the genocide in Peru that happened, like when I was being adopted, they like funded money to Alberto Fujimori.
No shit.
I have very little faith in them.
And they didn't do shit for the Hutsis and Tutsis back in Africa, right? So
yeah, so they're kind of worthless. They're only good at preventing major wars.
Yeah.
Someone said, "Do we talk about topics as strangers on the street, like like maybe she's talking about like what Clear Bear does."
No, I've never done that actually.
We haven't yet. I'm not opposed to it. It's kind of cold. That's a bad excuse. No, we just haven't yet. We have a lot of things that we have had made and like with plans with this video, as far as bringing people on. Doing other stuff to interact with the audience, doing the someone's on the stream. Should we say hey? Hello.
What's up?
Hi, Rena. Did she come on before? I don't know.
No, I don't remember.
Before. It's all good. Yeah, welcome, Rena, for wanting to join. We were just talking about Elon Musk and our views about him and his. How much money has he got? 190. Is he already over $200 billion?
Yeah, I think it's over 200 billion.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
I actually have like a Tesla stock. It's been going up recently.
There you go. That's what's up. Someone said we feel like we should make this world sustainable before we colonize other planets.
I've heard of this viewpoint. Yeah. So I don't really go with that viewpoint because I don't think it's an either or thing. I think we could find plenty of inventions and resources on new planets, and colonizing is the next step for the species in general. So I don't really view it as a exclusive thing. Like we have to do one or the other. We can do both, but that's just me.
I think we could allocate maybe some more funds to. Oh, Rena said she can't hear anything. That's weird. Maybe we'll try to unmute you. Okay, that's weird. Doesn't work. Can't unmute your guest because they choose. Oh, okay, got it. No, maybe you could try to come back, like exit out and come back in again. But yeah, going back. I mean, I think a little bit more money could be spent on our world here. But I'm for like exploring other planets too. So I'm kind of like agreeing with him and agreeing with you too, Wanchaloa, as well. But I know like a lot of our sea, how much the oceans comprise of 80% of the earth, I think. And we've only explored like very small parts, depths of the ocean. So there's a lot more to explore. I think we could put money in that too, but
yeah, I think so. Justice, which is one of our subs here, was saying it's an awkward talk. Sometimes my coworkers seem to think I should embrace my Spanish side, and Lisa's saying the vast majority of people will say that. Yeah, dude. I mean, it's just like I don't know. Like the more you say that, the less inclined I am to do that shit because it's just kind of like you're trying to pigeonhole people to do something they don't want to do. So they have the adverse reaction to it.
Oh, how would we address that? I think that if someone was like that to me, I will say I will. I'm aware that whatever Spanish DNA or whatever I have, sure, I'll acknowledge its existence, but I see myself, as a native, to this land, original indigenous person to this land. So you really have no right, jurisdiction to tell me otherwise, I think.
Oh, look, there's Tim Awesome, dude. He's always, dude. Tim, why do you watch all this if you like hate us so much, bro? Like, I don't understand. Having Spanish and native blood means you should blame both sides equally for the present. Both were complicate. One side just whines about the cut they got after the fact. I mean,
What?
it's not something I haven't heard. I mean, before. I mean, there's nothing new here.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
people are free to have whatever opinions they want, man. Like, quit trying to pigeonhole people or forcing them to accept both sides. They don't want to do that. It's not really necessary.
Here's the weird thing with Hispanos is that they get really like super triggered and their hair like rises up.
Yeah.
If they view you as like a mestizo and you no longer wish to see yourself as that, you want to see yourself as native.
Dude, I'll put this out there, dude. I would freaking before I ever embrace my Spanish side or like try to be an Hispanista, I would sooner just say I'm American and embrace the fact I'm a U.S. citizen and I fight for this country and all that. I would sooner do that than say I'm Hispanista or any of that shit. That's just me, but that's people can criticize me for that, but I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Someone left a good question. We have a Discord.
Right. Yeah, we do. Let me drop an invite in here. Just the only thing I will say is that we have a pretty secure screening process because we've had dumbasses in the past that are racist and homophobic. So just follow the screening process to get in. Okay, and follow the whole thing because if you don't, you're not going to get in.
Yeah, exactly. You won't get in. So, I'm gonna try to enter again. Hey, Rena. Hope you can hear us okay.
Hey, I can hear you guys. I didn't know I was going to be talking, but it was nice to meet you all.
Oh, nice to have you here too.
Yeah, nice to meet you. Is this your first time on here?
No, I've been on here. I mean, I've watched you guys, and but my user passcode or not username for the TikTok, which I'm new to it, is Chinese Medicine Doc. So, and then I'm Reina, so it's Reina Rodriguez, but I go by the Chinese Medicine Doc because I'm a Chinese medicine practitioner and I'm in medical school trying to pursue Western medicine, and then just learning about my culture.
Very cool. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What is it that I think really brought you to this channel, if you don't mind me asking? Like what video?
Well, just the racism, because I'm in Oregon and there's a lot of white folks, and always the discrimination against myself when I lived in Mexico, always like the morena and the negra and you're dark and it is India, and I am like and then just working with a lot of racist doctors, and there's a lot of racism, and so the more closer I get to my indigenous roots, which I am, the more powerful I become. So I take my power back, and things like that.
Okay.
No, absolutely. That's it's good that you're doing that. You know, that you're taking pride in that. And I'm sorry that you've gone through a lot of that racism. I have myself too here in Alabama. You know, I had a lot of it directed at me. Never for my own people, right? Because I'm just middle of the line, right? I'm just half and half or whatever. But it probably hurts a hell of a lot more having it come from your own people as well.
Yeah, hard for my own people and my own family too. And so I guess I look more indigenous than the whole family. Um, but coming from my family and
Can you
then
guys hear me by any chance?
Yeah, but just let her
Hello?
finish.
I can't hear
yeah,
anybody.
coming from my family and coming from because my parents immigrated illegally to Oregon, like Klamath Falls, like that is the most hick town, and I have an Oregonian accent, and just racism, so much racism, and just always having to defend myself, and I'm always that odd person learning medicine because I love medicine, and then having the
Can you guys hear me? Hello?
Hi, we can hear you, but
Yeah.
Rena's talking right now, man. So if you wouldn't
Oh,
mind.
okay.
Thank you.
because I like Chinese medicine. It seems like I'm getting the nickname China lady or China lady. And I was like, my goodness, can I just love medicine? Can I just be Mexican? Can I be India? You know, like just be respectful. I'm with you guys. I'm growing with you guys. It's like I found my tribe. Let me
Yeah.
be in my tribe. You know, should I change my name? Should I strip away my medicine? Should I strip away my doctorate to fit in with you guys? Like, no, hell no. This is how I come, and so be accepting of me. Um, so, anyways,
That's really awesome that you study, Chinese medicine too, and congratulations on, I don't know when you got your doctorate, but that's really impressive. So.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think I would have the like mental discipline to like study for that long. I only got my bachelor's degree.
well, I'm here and I'm here to support you guys. And if you see Chinese medicine doc, if you see me getting in there, it's just me learning, finding my tribe.
Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, if you ever have any questions or have any advice for us or anything, please feel free to, let us know. But
Thank you.
yeah, I think Mr. Hermano Perspective.
Yeah.
Hello? Can you guys
What's
hear
up,
me?
man? Yeah, we can hear you, man.
Okay, yeah, because someone's mic is like super loud. I literally feel like this bad. I hope that doesn't do whatever.
Oh, could you get closer to your mic, man? You're sounding really faint.
Up and now.
That's better. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like sometimes my mic works, sometimes it doesn't work. It's hectic, but anyway, guys, what's up? So I didn't really watch a whole lot of it. I watched it so far, but we're talking about it on March, I guess. So I really don't know. Were you guys finishing the Vasconcelos, the or whatever it's called?
Oh, hermano, could you repeat that, man? Like you're sounding really faint, bro.
So I didn't. Are you guys finishing up the book I asked? Like, La Raza Cosmic.
Oh yeah, but on a separate video, we're like basically 75% of the way done. We still got another 10 pages to go, but that'll be on another video. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have some things to say about this whole so-called whole topic about Hispanismo and all that. I wouldn't call myself a Hispanismo because Hispanismo seems to be really connected with more right-wing ideology, But at the same time, I wouldn't really say that the vast majority of people occupying what we call Latin America are, you know what I'm saying, at least racially or ethnically and even culturally, especially. So, my question to you, Juan, is I know you recently got reconnected to a specific tribe in Mexico. How did that go? Did you actually learn the lifestyle of the tribe? You accepted as a fellow member, or
Shoot.
I couldn't hear a word that he said.
Yeah, Romano. Yeah, you sounded really choppy. I mean, you can send it through the chat, like, and we can read your question, man. Like, I don't know what's up with your mic.
okay, I'll come right back.
All right.
We have someone else on Wanchaloa.
Oh yeah.
Well, he was on, but I put up the brand because a certain person likes to leave certain comments overlay. So in case he tries to be sneaky, that's why I put the overlay on.
Oh yeah. We don't need a repeat of that one time, bro.
We definitely do not.
Yeah, I remember that shit. Yeah.
God dang it. I guess Rena took off. Rena, thank you so much for coming on. I hope.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, good. Hold on, just give me 1 second as I try to fix something real quick.
All right.
All right, I'm back. You guys can hear me now, right? Perfectly?
Yeah, we can hear you pretty well.
Okay, good. Yeah, so like I said, man, I didn't really stick around for a big portion of time. I assumed that you guys were just reading the book La Raza Cósmica, kind of getting done with a little bit of it. But let me ask you something, Juan. So I know that recently you went to Mexico and you seem to have discovered your tribe. How did that go?
That went very well. So basically, that trip was planned months in advance. I like because some scholarly sources will say, well, the Guanchil are extinct, but that's not the case. And I was skeptical because you're not really going to know unless you go there. And plus, like a lot of these American scholars that will say that haven't been down to Mexico themselves. They haven't seen it. They haven't interviewed a whole lot of people. They don't know everybody or any community. So that's why I was skeptical about it. And I got together in this Facebook group with a man named Isaac Mole, who he had done a lot of like research himself on his lineage, and he knew he was Guanchil. And he was just wanting to get a group of a bunch of descendants to basically preserve the culture and just kind of learn as much as we could and piece it together, right? Just because we thought it'd be a good tribute, something interesting. And then we ran, and then we ran into them like online. Like we ended up finding like an online presence for this community back there, and that's when we reached out and we started talking, having a dialogue, and that's when eventually they invited me to go down there. So I did, because I wanted to go down there and just see them for myself, right, to learn as much as I could.
Right. Yeah, that's very interesting. And look, man, going back to maybe some of the things that we were talking about, like in the comment section or whatever of one of your community posts, I just want to make something clear. Look, if genetics don't matter, I think ultimately what really, really matters is culture. Like everybody throughout the history of mankind, we all care about culture. Nobody really cares about genes at the end of the day. So regardless if you're half and half, if there's a tribe that accepts you as a fellow member and you learn from that tribe and you learn their history and you practice their customs, you're pretty much native, as far as I'm concerned. You know what I'm saying? So that's all right. I have nothing against people who want to reconnect with a specific tribe that they found, and if the tribe accepts them, that's fine. My only conjecture is that I do not believe that the vast majority of people that occupy what we now call Latin America in the Western Hemisphere, especially in like the Caribbean islands and even in parts of Mexico and Central America, I wouldn't say that they are indigenous by definition. I wouldn't even consider myself to be really indigenous. And I know that some other people wouldn't as well. And the thing is that I actually once adopted this type of so-called indigenismo, and I remember kind of having a conversation with my dad, who's from El Salvador. And my dad is dark skinned, he's like crazy dark brown. And I said, hey, do you want to learn maybe like an indigenous language? What do you think about that? And he said, no, I grew up learning Spanish. I grew up in my own pueblo in Santa Ana. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with just acknowledging that I'm a so-called mestizo. He didn't say that, obviously, but the implication was that he was cool with it. And in my belief, this is kind of what the vast majority of so-called Hispanics from Mexico or Central America believe in. They really don't care about identifying as indigenous. You know what I'm saying? And to me, I don't have a problem with that, but I kind of want to see what you have to say about it.
I mean, I just ultimately think it's a personal choice. Like, I'm not here to pigeonhole anybody and like saying you got to do this or you got to do that or you're a villain if you choose this side or the other side, right? Like, the only time I ever rag on Hispanismo or anything in general is when people are attacking me. It's just because, I mean, since the start of this, me and Marcus have been like assailed by a bunch of trolls and people that hate us like from the very get-go, man. Like, so it's been kind of exhausting. So that's why we'll throw shade, right? But it's just because it's always on the defensive, That's the only thing. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm aware a bunch of people don't care. I mean, I have people within my own family, like they saw what I did and they thought it was cool, right? But they don't care. I mean, they're just perfectly fine being living their life, regularly, and that's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that either. So.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I look at myself at the mirror pretty much every day. Like pretty much everybody does, right? We all know how we look like, and me personally, I would say that I don't really look indigenous. Like I know phenotypically, I may have some features, but really, I would say that I'm kind of like taller than your average indigenous. But at the same time, I know that I'm not white because I have dark skin, and my hair is a little bit curly. So it's like, for me, my identity is like, okay, well, what am I? I just say, fuck it, I'm mixed. I'm my own thing. And in my opinion, I don't think there's any problem with identifying as mixed or identifying with their culture. I think everybody does that. Like if you look at Arabs, for example, it's a really good example because the word Arab, just like mestizo, means mixed, right? And Arabs, genetically speaking, they're a mix of like Anglo-Semitic, African. They're also a mix of like maybe some Eurasian. But obviously, no one's gonna say, oh yeah, those guys are Anglo or those guys. No one's gonna call them Asian or African or anything like that. We just call them Arabs because they're mixed, and that's kind of my point of view. It's like I just, I think mestizo kind of rolls off the tongue a little bit good. I know some people criticize that and say, well, mestizo comes from the caste system, and I'm like, yeah, it does, but it's a name that's stuck, and really all words, if you look at the facts, all words are created from like out of nowhere. Like why do we call this? It's like people just create words out of nowhere. So if mestizo rolls off the tongue good and it means mixed, to me, I don't have a problem calling myself mestizo.
Well, I was going to ask you, do you live in the United States or not?
I'm sorry?
Do you live in the U.S.?
Yeah, I live in the U.S.
Oh, okay, so I was just wondering, what do you put down, like, on those, government forms or, like, whenever they ask on the census, like, what your race is? What do you put down? Do you just put Amerindian and white? Do you just put those two down, or do you just select white and Hispanic? Because most people just select white and Hispanic.
No. So, yeah, make no mistake about it, bro. We live in the U.S., you know what I'm saying? And in the U.S., we all know what type of supremacy controls this country, right? So I think there's benefits to labeling yourself as either black or Hispanic or whatever. And we all know, when people use the word Hispanic here in the U.S., we all picture a brown person, right? So I definitely mark Hispanic. You know what I'm saying? I don't mark white. I don't mark black. I don't mark Amerindian. I just mark Hispanic all the time.
So you run with that, and then you put like some other race or something, because usually they'll always force you to pick a race, like in addition to the.
Oh, like on the census. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like on a job application.
I mean, in general, in other places, I mean, some of the job applications can just be simple, and they might just have the Hispanic only, right? But most places or most forms I've seen have the Hispanic or not, right? You select that, and then you have to pick one of the five. They force you to pick one of the five.
Right. Okay. Well, if they're forcing me, I just. I'll just put I'll just put other. How about that?
Okay, you go with that. Yeah, that's what a lot of people do. Yeah, we saw like in the census numbers, I think for 2010, I don't know about 2020, but I know for 2010, a significant portion, like 18 million, put some other race or something.
Yeah. Because if I'm not mistaken, like if you want to put Amerindian, it's like I think here in the United States they do definitely ask you, like they pressure you. It's like, hey, are you part of any specific tribe? Who recognizes you? You know, and it's like if you just say, oh no, it's just that you see, my ancestry is from Mexico and indigenous and blah blah blah. They're going to be like, okay, well, here in America, you're not indigenous to any of the tribes in the First Nations here in the United States, right? In the plains, so it's like you're not indigenous in their eyes.
Well, like the definition, like they have it on there, encapsulates North, Central, and South. So you'd be valid in saying it. Sometimes they'll ask you for a tribe, but other times they just won't. You can just select it, like, and they won't ask anything.
Oh yeah, well, you know, if it comes to that, and if there's a benefit with identifying as native in terms of the system, I might do that. You know, it's just that me personally, like, I'm talking more on a personal level. It's like, do I really look at my mirror? Do I really look at the mirror every morning and say I'm an indigenous person? To me, bro, it's like, no, you know. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. It's curious because I have a question for you. You know, it's like, if you really want to just talk about definitions, can somebody of mixed ancestry, right? Can that person be indigenous by definition? I want to hear what you have to say about that.
A person of mixed ancestry by definition.
Of mixed ancestry of what exactly?
Be indigenous of anything. Could mixed people, period, be indigenous to any part of where they reside in? Just period.
So are you like going for it like as in like the definition of indigenous as in like let's say somebody was born in Norway, right? And there's some white guy, like, are you saying they're indigenous to Norway? Are you kind of going at it from that angle? Because I've heard of that too before, but that's just kind of like using the word differently.
Well, really, I just think that, you know, if you're somebody of mixed ancestry, and we're not just talking about, oh, I'm 2% black. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about heavy admixture to the point where it's like you have 3 or more races that are a part of you. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking more
Hermano
about that.
perspective, I honestly think that's up for indigenous communities to decide whether if they want to accept them or not. If they want to accept those that are mixed, then I think that's okay.
Right. All right. Well, but what if a tribe says we don't accept it? Then, like, are you cool with that?
Yeah, I mean, we've never said anything contrary to it on this podcast. So, for example, like, if I had gone down to, like, let's say I had traced to some other tribe. I mean, I descend from 3, right? But let's say I'd gone to the Shiwi, right? That's another indigenous group I descend from. If I had gone to them and I was like, well, I'm interested in learning and I want to, like, basically learn what it is to be Shiwi, and they said, no, we don't want you, then I would have just left it at that. There would have been no arguments. There would have been no discussion. It would have been like, okay, I'm just a descendant, right? So we've never said anything to the contrary on this podcast that you're just going to, whatever group you trace to, that you're just going to go force yourself on them. Like, we've always said, if they reject you or they don't want you there, then that's it. You're not supposed to argue. You're not supposed to do anything. Like, you just move on.
Okay, I see. Well, that's all right then. I guess I don't really have any more questions. Thank you guys for having me on for the little time that I was here. You know, I just wanted to clear up a few things. That's it. But peace out.
Oh yeah, no, we appreciate it, man, and we appreciate your civility and your questions, man. Thank you.
Bye.
So, I'm able to take care of that question, I think. I mean, ultimately, no one tells you who you are except yourself. If we see clearly that we are our ancestors are, like, most of them are native or indigenous people, then so yeah, of course, if there's other non-native people in our admixture, along with, like, what make up our DNA, I think that it doesn't matter if it's how we see ourselves. And I think that having communities there to support that only strengthens our points. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would say so. Like, you know, do we have traditional natives that disagree with us? Of course, right? But we also have traditional natives that do agree with us, and there's plenty of them. So it's just a contentious issue. I mean, no one's not going to agree on everything. But at the same, like, what I do want to make clear is that, again, like, because he asked that question, it's like, we're not telling anybody to go force themselves into any communities they don't belong to, or to claim any tribe that they're not a member of, right? or to just start appropriating culture, again, if they don't have that permission. So we're not saying anything like that. What we're just saying is that if you want to reconnect, you should, and you can do this with genealogy. You can reach out, and we're also saying that if you want to racially identify as just Native, that should be your choice. If you want to do that, especially here in the United States. I mean, like, things are very, very different in this society. It just makes no sense to say, "Oh yeah, mestizo here in the U.S." in my opinion, but that's just me. I mean, if you guys don't like that, you don't agree, that's fine. But like, I don't see why so many of these haters just cling to this podcast like 24/7 and watch all the content and then just want to attack. And it's like, bro, you're wasting your time. You're wasting both of our time. Like, we're not going to change.
Yeah, I was hungry. I wanted to be done. Yeah, ultimately, whatever they say won't change our decision, because I think that we have enough facts to back up our claims and people that support us to a point to, whatever they say, it won't hold water in the end.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, I just think it's silly, like, how butthurt people get about this whole thing, especially the Hispanistas that are just like, you hate a part of yourself, or all that shit, right?
I think Super Red Pilled Player is probably one of those Hispanistas. He was like saying some funny stuff earlier, but whatever. Comments bring in views.
Yeah, no, it's whatever, bro.
Yeah. But did anyone have any other questions? I do have some other things I want to take care of tonight, so I think we'll probably wrap up this live. Did we make our points clear? I think to Hermano perspective.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
He answered his questions. Yeah. Although they said that he's like an Wabo supporter, like what Luis just said. So I don't know if that's true, but I hope he's not.
Wabo supporter. Oh God.
Hopefully he's not.
Yeah, but in the meantime, I think we'll throw in the link one last time if anyone wants to join in our short after party that we're gonna have for like.
Oh wait! Luis is saying that the Hermano's perspective is Pocho, dude. Is that true?
Oh God.
That was Pocho, dude. Man, Pocho, you a traitor, man. You're a huge traitor, Pocho. I don't know why you got on here.
I saw him talking on another channel about when I was on a live with Rad regarding the native black thing. I saw him on there, but I mean, we were able to address what he asked, and I think the thing is that he kind of said, I'm talking about the conversation we just had with him, that he said that we thought that like the Caribbean, everyone in the Caribbean is native, and we never said that at all in any of our videos.
Well, do you actually want to state what our stance is on that, or do you think
that's gonna open a can of worms?
It's gonna fucking get people triggered if we actually say what we think?
I'm saying that we never said that all of people in the Caribbean is native.
Yeah, we never said that.
Yeah, so people sometimes like to put words in our mouths.
Yeah.
But that's what they'll do. Oh, do we dare? We got one of our followers on who likes to say some things.
All right.
Should we let him on?
Yeah. Who is it?
Oh no, Sapo just disappeared.
Well, Sapo disappeared. Come on, Sapo.
Sapo, get back on here.
Yeah, Sapo, get back on here.
I got like 10 minutes, and then I got a friggin'. He said sub, and now he's gone. So, oh well, Juan's in.
That would have that would have been good, man, if Sapo got on here. I mean, yeah, we had like some sparring before, but
yeah,
would help you to get on here with the subs, man.
I had some questions for you, Sapo, that you said in your videos that I'd like to address regarding things.
Yeah.
But hey, what's up, Juan?
How's it going, man? How's it going, guys?
What's up, man?
Pretty good. You missed out on a little little party.
Nice.
Yeah, but doing pretty well. We just got done with our book. Well, we just finished our other chapter, and we just have like a few more pages to go. So we'll have one more video about Jose Vasconcelos in the near future. So you didn't miss out completely. But
Nice.
yeah, how's life over on the west side?
Pretty cool, man. I found a place now.
Oh, you did? Well, that's great.
Yeah. Tomorrow I
That's
gotta
awesome.
sign the papers and I'm good to go.
That's really good. That's great to hear. Happy for you. I think Godzilla left a comment saying, "I'm curious, what do Mexican citizens feel about indigenous movements?"
Well, some people like those in my community think that that's a positive thing, and not everyone thinks the same down there. I mean, you have anthropologists like what was his name, Guillermo or Francisco Navarrete that criticize the whole mestizaje thing. So I mean, there's always going to be differences of opinions here. Not everybody just thinks like this. This is what I see from a lot of these Panistas. They think that we're all just like that. They're all just robots down south, and they all think one way, and like it's weird if they don't. It's like even within the same country, there's a lot of contention on these issues. It's not so clear cut, and there's that contention is increasing like with the younger generation as well.
Yeah, I think so too. Especially like I think what is it? There's a Zapatista movement like in southern Mexico. But it makes me kind of wonder like what light the media puts on these movements in Mexico. You know, are they also viewed as like communist too, in a way?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But yeah, I hope that addresses the question. We'd have to bring some people on in the future regarding that.
Yeah,
But-
for sure.
but yeah,
I just put a poll like just because I want to see what people think, but it's like they're natives in the Caribbean, and so I'm just trying to see what they
Is Juan frozen? I think Juan's frozen.
Yeah, shit, he is.
Juan, oh, well, he's
I'm here.
moving. Okay, cool. Either you like are able to stand still like almost perfectly, or you were frozen. But there he
fuck.
goes. Well, it's okay. He'll come back on sometime. Oh, he's back. So, yeah, we are just gonna answer anything else, and yeah, probably wrap this up, Juan, because we do got some other things gonna take.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna have the after party.
Well, no, I mean if you got shit going on, man, then no big deal.
We can have a 5-minute after party.
All right.
All right, cool. All right, guys. I think we are gonna wrap this up here. I'll throw in the link one last time in case anyone wants to talk. But if you ever have any questions, feel free to shoot us up on the email. Try to get to that other email when we can. But yeah, I mean the email, the one that's listed in the description. So yeah, again, thank you all for watching our video. Thanks for coming on the stream. Thanks for the likes, comments, the subscriptions. So yeah, hope you all have a good night. Go have fun, or enjoy, do what you do. But yeah, we're gonna end this now. So see you later, guys. Bye, Steven. Bye, Destiny, Luis,
See you guys.
and everybody else.